of the screen. I just want the record to reflect what was on the screen. There was nothing objectionable on the screen. It was just basically a blank screen with a state logo. So I turned it off, but there's nothing on there other than a blank screen and a logo. And that was it, a state logo. So just so the record's clear. I'm ready whenever you are.
Jamie Williamson.
And can I have why?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I'll get it later.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Yes, my name is Jamie Williamson.
And where are you employed, Ms. Williamson?
I'm employed with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement out of the Jacksonville Regional Operations Center.
How long have you been employed with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
I've been employed there since January of 2008.
What is your position at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
Currently, I'm a senior crime laboratory analyst in the firearms section.
What are your duties as a senior crime laboratory firearms analyst?
I do microscopic comparisons of fired ammunition components, so fired bullets, cartridge case shot shells. I compare them to each other, as well as to if I have a firearm, I can test fire that for operability and to make test fires that I can compare those test fires to anything collected from an evidence, or from a crime scene.
Yes, ma'am. How long have you been in that role at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
I've been a senior analyst, excuse me, since October of 2022, and I've been an analyst in the firearms section since March of 2018.
Can you briefly describe to the jury your educational background, ma'am, and your training experience for your position there at Florida Department of Law Enforcement currently?
Yes, I have a bachelor's in cellular molecular biology, and I have my master's in criminal justice. I began my career with FDLE, or the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, in January of 2008 in the firearms section. I was a forensic technologist, where my primary duties were testing firearms for functionality, just making sure they worked. And then I could enter said test fires into what is called the NIBIN database. It's basically an electronic database that holds all these images of fired cartridge cases, and it can connect, other crimes to each other. So it's an investigative tool. And I was in that role until July of 2009, when I was promoted to crime laboratory analyst in the crime scene section with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. And then I was in that role until I made the change to a laboratory analyst in the firearms section in March of 2018, where I began my training. And it was an 18-month program where it was a lot of readings, a lot of hand-on trainings and practicals, oral assessments, written assessments. And then once I successfully completed that phase with an oral board, then I went to about 6 months of supervised casework conducted under a certified analyst in that section. And then that was successfully completed with a mock trial in October of 2019.
Thank you, ma'am. As an analyst at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, do you have to undergo proficiency testing in your position?
Yes, every year.
Have you passed that proficiency testing?
Every year, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Have you ever testified previously in the state of Florida in the field of firearms identification?
Yes, I have.
Approximately how many times?
Over 20.
Your Honor, at this time I would tender this witness as someone who's authorized to give opinion testimony in the field of firearms identification.
Any cross-examination of voir dire?
No questions, Your Honor.
I'll allow her to testify in a form of opinion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did you receive any evidence in this case, Ms. Williamson?
Yes, I did.
I want to show you State's Exhibit 14. Ms. Williamson, if you could please take a look at that and let me know if you received this item of evidence and your involvement in this case.
Am I allowed to open it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, I recognize this.
Yes, ma'am, and if you could please describe to the jury again what that is?
This white box contains a .380 auto caliber pistol and 2 magazines, as well as a tape-sealed manila envelope containing my agency test fires. I recognize this item because this yellow sticker here is the Florida Department of Law Enforcement's barcode. This is how we basically keep electronic chain of custody through our laboratory. It has our unique case number on it, as well as my handwriting is on the exterior of the package and on all the items inside the box.
Thank you. So you received this item of evidence. Did you do any type of examination on that firearm, the Remington 380?
Yes, I not only did a visual examination to ensure that it would be safe to fire, and I did a physical exam, and then I actually did test fire this pistol.
You test fired the pistol there at your laboratory?
Yes.
What type of ammunition did you use for the test fire?
In this case, I used, it was a Remington brand. It was a .380 auto caliber, because that's what the pistol is, and it had a full metal jacket projectile.
Ma'am, when you test fired the Remington 380 pistol, there states item 14, did the firearm function as designed?
Yes, it did.
So the firearm was fully operable?
Yes.
Thank you. I want to give you another piece of evidence, ma'am. This is State Exhibit 11. If you could please take a look at that as well. Did you receive that item of evidence, ma'am?
Yes, I did.
All right, and if you could just describe to the jury again what that is?
Yes, this is a fired .380 auto caliber cartridge case that I received as my item number 3. And again, it has that FDLE barcode, it has my handwriting on the outside of the package, as well as my handwriting on the actual cartridge case.
Now, ma'am, that cartridge case, if you could just explain to the jury kind of what a cartridge case is and how it is involved in the firing of a pistol.
Yes, so an unfired round of ammunition is actually called a cartridge. An everyday person might call it a bullet, but it's actually called a cartridge. And the cartridge contains a projectile, or the bullet, contains gunpowder. It has a primer that contains the initiation system to fire that round. And the cartridge case is the metal area that actually houses the gunpowder, and the bullet sits inside of it. So during the firing process, the firing pin of the firearm will strike the primer, which starts that whole process of igniting the gunpowder. The gunpowder then creates all this pressure inside the cartridge. The cartridge case will obturate or expand inside the chamber of the firearm, which then causes the pressure to expel the bullet out of the barrel of the firearm, and then making the firearm, in this case a semi-automatic pistol, unlock, open, which extracts and ejects the fired cartridge case, throws it somewhere on the ground, usually, as the bullet is exiting the barrel, and then the slide returns to a closed position. And this all happens in like a fraction of a second.
So the empty cartridge case, there you have it, States Exhibit 11, that's what's ejected from the firearm when you fire a round.
Correct.
Now, did you examine that shell casing, States Exhibit 11, for any purpose in your analysis of this case?
Yes, I did a visual exam just to determine if it had these firing marks, as well as doing a microscopic comparison.
Right. And what was your goal in that type of microscopic analysis to see from the shell casing?
Yes, so after I test fired the pistol that I received, I microscopically examined my test fires that I created in-house, and I compare those to each other, because I test fire the pistol twice, and I compare those test fires to each other just to get an idea of how this firearm marks the ammunition. And then once I complete that, then I can microscopically compare the test fires from the pistol to any evidence that I have. And so that's what I did here, using using a comparison microscope, which has two stages where I can mount two separate items of evidence, but visualize them through one singular ocular bridge. And I can use like a crosshair that I can basically go from side to side and, look up at any correspondence that there is to each other.
Now, did you determine that the shell casing you received in item 11 was able to be compared to the test fire shell casings that you fired there at your laboratory?
Yes, I did.
And now, did you do any type of comparison, or did you do an analysis to reach an opinion on the shell casing?
Yes, I did.
And what was that opinion?
My opinion was that the cartridge case that I received was fired in the pistol.
Okay. So just to clarify, if I may, take this. So this shell casing right here, States Exhibit 11, in your opinion, after your analysis was identified as having been fired from this pistol,
Yes,
States Exhibit 14.
yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, ma'am, I want to give you another piece of evidence in this case, States Exhibit 17. If you please take a look at that as well.
I recognize that.
Okay. And did you receive that item of evidence in this case, ma'am?
Yes, I did.
Now, did you perform any type of analysis or examination on that projectile?
Yes, I did.
If you could please just explain to the jury what a projectile actually is.
Yes, the projectile is the part of that cartridge I previously described that actually travels down the barrel of a firearm and is, goes to its intended target or wherever. The projectile is also called a bullet.
Now, when you did an examination of the projectile, what was your goal of that examination of that projectile?
The examination, I began by measuring it. I can measure the diameter of it, and I weigh it, and it gives me an idea of the caliber class that it belongs to. I also put it on my microscope and look at what's called lands and grooves that are created during the firing process. These lands and grooves are what are inside the barrel of a firearm. They are basically helical grooves that are cut out of a barrel of a firearm that creates a twist, a spin to the bullet as it travels. So imagine if someone like me throws a football, it's going to go all over the place. And then somebody like Tom Brady has a beautiful spin. And so that's what that rifling does. It creates that spin so the projectile doesn't yaw all over the place. So I'm looking at those lands and grooves. I make note of the direction of them because some firearms twist to the left, some twist to the right. Some have larger lands and grooves, some have smaller, some have 6, some have 5, some have 10. So I'm making note of all of these things because that's what's called class characteristics, and I know whether or not to even compare it to a suspect firearm.
So you examined that projectile that you received right there on the podium.
Yes.
You also said you test fired the pistol in your laboratory. Did you collect those projectiles from when you test fired the pistol?
Yes, because I test fire in a giant water tank, so that way I can easily remove the projectiles from the water and examine those.
Now, did you do any type of comparison analysis between that projectile that you received in State 17 and the test fire projectiles you did in your laboratory.
Yes, I did.
All right. And what was kind of the conclusion of your analysis?
After doing a microscopic comparison, I came to the conclusion that this bullet was fired from that pistol.
So just to clarify, Ms. Williamson, it's your opinion that this projectile in State's Exhibit 17 was fired from this pistol?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions for Ms. Williamson.
Cross-examination, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
The capacity of the two magazines that you analyzed was 6, right? For each?
Yes,
And you did not do ejection pattern analysis on the firearm, is that right?
correct, I do not.
FDLE just doesn't have that, doesn't have ejection pattern analysis at all, right?
Correct, we don't do that.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any further questions? Thank you, Your Honor.
No further questions.
She excused?
Sure.
You're excused, ma'am. Have a nice day. Thank you. Next witness, please.
State calls Detective Ryan Stiff.
You need a board.
Yes.
Is that you, woman? Did you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please introduce yourself to the jury, sir.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Stith, and I'm a detective with the Marion County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been with the Marion County Sheriff's Office?
6.5 years,
And how long have you been a detective with them?
4 years.
What do you do on a day-to-day basis as a detective?
In our major crimes unit, I investigate mostly violent crimes such as robberies, homicides, but also missing persons cases, suspicious deaths also.
Did you become the lead detective on this case of State of Florida versus Susan Lorincz?
Yes, sir, I did.
And how was it that you became the lead detective as opposed to another detective?
Yes, sir, I was the on-call that week, so we break up our rotation between the detectives, and basically if there's a crime or a call that requires major crime response, that detective would respond and become the lead investigator.
Let me direct your attention to June 2nd of 2023. Did you respond to the scene of this shooting in this case?
Yes, sir.
What was going on when you arrived?
When I arrived, there were multiple deputies on scene. They had secured the residence at number 3 apartment with yellow caution tape. There was a deputy who had started a crime scene log, and there were multiple residents of the area that were out and about at the time.
Was Susan Lorincz still on scene?
Yes.
Where was she located?
She was in the back of a patrol vehicle.
Do you see her here in court today?
Yes, I do.
Can you please point her out and tell me what she's wearing?
Yes, sir. She's wearing a purple sweater.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant.
Also reflect.
Did you determine her date of birth?
I'm sorry?
Did you determine the defendant's date of birth?
Yes, I
What
did.
was it? Or what is it? You don't
I'm
remember?
not sure.
Do you have your
Offhand.
report handy?
Yes, I do.
Would it refresh your memory if you could take a look at your report?
I believe I just have the narrative here, so I don't know if I have her date of birth
That's okay.
on it.
Did you come to learn that Ms. Lawrence had a cell phone in her possession?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you eventually take possession of the cell phone?
Yes, sir.
Where was the cell phone located when you took possession of her? How did you get it?
I took possession from Deputy Stringer, who was on scene.
Showing has been marked as State's Exhibit R for identification. You take a look at that and tell me if you recognize it.
Yes, sir.
What is it?
It is a packaging containing an Apple iPhone with my initials.
Can you open it up, look inside?
Yes, sir.
Recognize the contents.
All right. Yes, sir.
What is it?
It's an Apple iPhone that I collected from the scene.
Is it the same, substantially the same condition as when you collected it that evening?
Yes, sir, it is
This
appeared
time
to be.
state would move R into evidence as 18.
Any objection?
No objection, Your
So that objection states R will be in evidence as number 18.
What did you do with the phone after you took possession of it?
I took it back to the Marion County Sheriff's Office where it was placed into a secure digital forensics lab.
At some point, was the phone provided to forensic analyst Jesse Newbanks with the sheriff's office?
Yes, sir.
When was that done?
Once we responded back to the major crimes unit inside the sheriff's office.
And what was the purpose of handing the phone over to Jesse Newbanks?
I plan to generate a search warrant for the contents of that phone.
And was that search warrant eventually granted, giving you or another individual from the sheriff's office the ability to go into that phone and extract data?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any involvement in that extraction process?
No, I did not.
I asked you a few minutes ago the defendant's date of birth. If I gave you a copy of the entire report, would that refresh your memory?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Remember date of birth?
Yes, sir.
What was it?
July 23rd, 1964. Thank you.
At some point, was the defendant transported from the scene to the Marion County Sheriff's Office?
Yes,
Was she interviewed there?
yes, sir.
Where was that interview done?
It was conducted at the Major Crimes Unit within the Central Operations Complex of the Sheriff's Office.
Who was present during the interview?
It was myself and Detective Kip Peterson.
And what does Detective Peterson do?
At the time, he was a detective within the Major Crimes Unit.
Was the defendant under arrest at the time she was being interviewed?
No, sir.
Was the interview both audio and video recorded?
Yes, it was.
Was the entire interview audio and video recorded?
Yes, sir.
Did you read the defendant what are called Miranda warnings prior to asking her any questions about the case?
Yes, sir.
What are those?
Miranda warnings are a set of instructions typically read by law enforcement to someone who's in custody before any questioning. Basically making sure that they understand that they are free to not speak with us and to have counsel present before any questioning.
Did she agree to waive those rights and provide an interview to you?
Yes, sir.
Did you force her or threaten you in any way to get her to talk to you?
No, sir.
Did you promise her anything in order to get her to talk to you?
No, sir.
Showing us mark the state's exhibit S is in Sam. You recognize that disc?
Yes, sir.
What is that disc? What's on it?
This disc contains the video and audio recorded interview on June 3rd of 2023.
And have you reviewed that disc?
Yes, sir.
Does it fairly and accurately depict the relevant portions of her interview that you conducted with her on the 3rd of June?
It does.
And how do you know you watched that disc?
My initials and ID number are present from where I initialed it.
This time, Your Honor, state would move state's S as in Sam into evidence as 19.
Subject to our previous objections, Your Honor.
I'll recognize the previous objections. I'll overrule them. It'll be in evidence in states number 19.
I'm also showing you state's exhibit T as in Tom. Have you prepared transcripts of that interview?
Yes, sir, I am.
And did you listen to the disc with the interview at the same time reading transcripts?
Yes, sir.
Are the transcripts accurate as far as what's on that disc?
Yes, sir, they are.
This time, Your Honor, I'd request to publish the interview and provide the jury transcript pursuant to the court's ruling.
Judge, may we approach just briefly?
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen carefully to some instructions I'm going to give you before the videos are played. One of them I've already given you, but I'll give it to you again. Members of the jury, you are about to view or listen to an audio or video recording. The court instructs you that the recording has been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions that would not add to your understanding of the case. The fact that the recording has been edited should not concern you in any way and must not impact the way you view or listen to and consider this evidence. You are about to hear and watch a recorded interview that contains opinions and statements by Detective Ryan Stith, Detective Kip Peterson, and Detective Daniel Pinder to Susan Lorincz. These opinions and statements are pertinent only to explain the reactions and responses they elicit. You are not to consider these opinions and statements by the police officer, or in this case, police officers, as true, but only to establish the context of Susan Lorinc's reaction and responses. You are about to hear recorded conversations. These recorded conversations are proper evidence, and you may consider them just as any other evidence. You are also being furnished transcripts of the recorded conversations. The recordings are the evidence. The transcripts are provided to you only as a guide to help you follow as you listen to the recordings. The transcripts are not evidence of what was actually said or who said it. If you notice any difference between what you hear on the recordings and what you read on the in the transcripts, you must rely on what you hear, not what you read.
Did you issue the transcripts and David also?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
May I have access to?
Yes, sir. Let me know when you're ready to actually put it on. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you need the volume up or down, please give me the up or down signal.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I'm just sitting here because I was freezing.
Oh, it is chilly in here, isn't it? Susan?
Yes,
Hi, I'm Detective Stitt. This is Detective Peterson.
okay.
Can we just get you to slide that chair back over here just a moment? I'm sorry to keep you waiting so long. We just had a lot we had to sort through before we could come and talk to you. So again, I'm Detective Stitt. I'm an investigator here with the Sheriff's Office. Could you give me your, spell your name for me? Is it
It's
Susan?
Susan, S-U-S-A-N,
And do you have a middle name?
Louise, L-O-U-I-S-E,
And your last name?
Lawrence, L-O-R-I-N, C as in cat, Z as in zebra,
Thank you. And what's your date of birth, Susan?
7/23/64,
And your address?
1662 Southwest 107th Lane, Ocala, Florida, 34476.
And you live in
Yes.
apartment number
Three.
3?
Mhm.
Thank you. What's a telephone number for you?
352-777-5909.
5909?
Mhm.
Okay. So, do you know reason why we're,
Oh, absolutely.
okay. So, you know, did the deputies like put handcuffs on you or
Yes.
anything with it? Because there's a lot of things going on and we're trying to sort through the moving pieces to try to figure out what happened. So naturally, you know, they want to secure
Understood.
the scene in that, under that circumstance, and then, you know, to handcuff you. So we're working this investigation, and at this point, you're not free to leave, so I have to make you aware of your rights, okay, before we talk. So I have to read this to you. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to execute these rights, not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand each of those rights I've explained to you?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason I'm trying to clarify all the events that happened tonight and to try to, because really I only have, you know, statements from people that were out there, and I would like to get your side of things and try to
Okay.
understand what exactly happened tonight, or last night now, I guess it is.
Good gravy. Basically, the neighbors were out there screaming, yelling, the kids were running back and forth, I had a miserable headache, went inside, laid down, they finally got quiet, I came outside and the three boys were there. I'm like, guys, you're trespassing, come on, go out of here. And he's like, I want this and I want that, and fuck you and fuck this. I'm like, oh, okay, little big kids, you know, because they're all really young. And
So you say you came out and they were.
I wanted to check my truck. Every time I had my truck on one side, the kids would throw the balls and hit the truck.
Okay.
So I moved the truck to the other side, then they moved themselves to the other side, and they keep just, you know.
Just
hands in the ass.
antagonizing you?
Oh, God,
Yeah.
horribly.
Okay, so when you said that you came outside and they were there, the three boys were there, where were they at?
They're right in front of, you know, that little cove that's
Like
there.
the privacy fence?
They were right there.
Okay.
right in front.
Inside the privacy fence, like
No.
on your patio or
No, they were
outside?
just right outside.
Okay.
And I'm like, guys, come on, leave. You know, because I wanted to check the truck and everything. And then they were like, I'm gonna tell my mom, you know, I'm like, go tell your mom, I don't care, you know. And,
Have you had problems with them
oh
before?
my God, yes. They've been harassing me last week. They came up they were actually in the vestibule, the area. And they were like, wake up, wake up. I was watching TV. I'm like, really, seriously? Because, you know, after a nice long shift, it's just when I want to hear these little run.
How long have you lived there?
3 years,
3 years?
Mhm.
Okay. And how long have you been having problems with them?
like 2 years.
2 years?
Ever since she moved.
Is it just those same three, or do you have problems with any, does anyone else give you problems?
They want to play on that part where Charles owns and the other part. And I'm like, guys, come on. give me
Which
some-
part is that? I'm not sure, I don't know who Charles is.
Charles is the landlord. So there's, and one of the cops came out and said, oh, it's an open lot. It's not an open lot. It's an abutment of 2 properties. I'm like, guys, come on, you know, give me some peace, you know, because in my apartment, there's sliding glass doors, and then I have the 2 bedrooms up front. And because it's an open concept, just you can hear everything.
Sounds travel
And
right
it's
through.
horrible, and you know, and I'm like, go play on the other side. We don't want to play on the other side, we want to play over here. I'm like, oh, good gravy, you know, and so they just, every time they see me, they get together and scream and yell.
They live in the same building?
No, none of them live there. I was gonna say, one set of kids lives there, but the other sits on the other side. Like, go play on your side of the road, you know, come on.
Okay, so they were being obnoxious out there tonight,
Oh,
and they finally got quiet, but then you go outside and the 3 of them are out there?
Yeah, and I didn't wanna go any further because he's like, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you. I'm like, what in the world?
Who said that?
H.I.'s kids.
Okay, so who is it?
H.I., I think her name is.
Okay.
She actually had thrown a sign at me before. She picked up the no trespassing sign and just threw it at me. She's like, here, take your fucking sign. I'm like, it's not mine, it's Charles. You know, he doesn't want you guys here.
Mm.
So it's just, you know, she's been in my mailboxes, she sends the kids in the mailboxes.
When did she throw a sign at you?
I want to say last year, just after I had my neck fused. I'm like, oh, good gravy.
What kind of sign? Like one of the ones you buy at the store, like a plastic, like on the
It was a
fence?
metal sign with a little metal, like a real estate sign. It had no
How-
trespassing, so
how
it was
big?
about that by that. And with the,
Is it the same one that was out there tonight,
No,
or
it was a
is it different?
different
Okay.
they stole that sign.
So what happened tonight that led to the conclusion
Well,
that
I just, I'm like, kids, go home. So they go home, and then all of a sudden, she comes out, and she is just banging on my door. I'm like, go away, I'm not dealing with you tonight. And then she started banging so hard, everything started shaking. And I'm like, you really need to leave. And then she's, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and she's just banging away. You know, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. And since she has actually harmed me, I'm like, it just keeps getting worse and worse. I'm like, I don't know what to do with her. And she banged so hard, it looked like my door was gonna fly off. And I panicked. And I was like, oh my God, she's really gonna kill me this time, you know? And so I don't even actually remember picking up the gun. I just remember shooting.
Where do you keep the gun usually?
It's in my bedroom.
That's
So,
where you keep
yeah,
it,
I
like
keep
in
it
a,
bedroom.
in a cabinet or something, or just like,
It's just, I actually keep it in the trash can
okay.
next to the bed.
I know nobody would look in there probably, right?
You know, and I didn't think about it, and I'm like, oh my God, and I just started panicking, and I really feared for my life. I mean, honest to God, I was like, oh Jesus Christ, I'm a nervous wreck. You know, I'm not supposed to be getting nervous or anything like this because I have an aneurysm on my left kidney artery. And so they're like, you're supposed to stay calm, you're not supposed to do anything, and this woman just keeps antagonizing. She's got the kids calling me, I'm like, I'm a doctor over 3. Do not talk to me like I am one of your peers. You
So they
know?
don't really have any
Oh,
respect for
no
her.
respect.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
So AJ, she came to your door
Oh, yeah.
and she was,
She was pounding on it. I was like, what the hell? My cat's going to fling it.
what was
in
she
the bedroom.
saying? Was she
She's
saying
like,
anything?
You don't talk to my sons. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, you know. And I was like in tears. I'm like shaking, and I'm like, oh my God. And I thought she had gone away, and then she starts banging again. I'm like, oh shit.
Did she like try to come inside?
She was trying as hard as she could.
And what do you mean?
That door was moving. And I'm like, holy shit, you know.
Like, did she try the door handle, or is she just beating on it to try to push it in, or what?
She was just, you know, just trying to push it in, and I was like, oh my God.
You just let you know it's back.
Okay. So what was she saying again?
She's like, you can't talk to my sons that way, you know. I'm like, you're trespassing, you know.
So you were communicating with her through the door? You were
Yeah, and
able
I'm
to-
like, all right, just leave. You know, I don't wanna hear it. I'm gonna fucking kill you, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I didn't think too much of it until she really started pounding that door, and I'm like, oh my God. Then I got scared, like terrified scared.
Now, you had initially called,
Because it was.
did you call 911, or
Yeah,
did you
I-
use the non-emergency number when you called?
When the first time, because the kids said, I'm gonna kill you, and my friends kill you, I'm like, oh my God, you know, what the hell's going on now? You know, I'm like, I don't need this aggravation.
Okay. So you called, was it 911?
Yeah, I called 911.
Okay. And that was before HI came over?
Before
Okay.
she came over.
And the kid, okay, so we get like, as the deputies are responding, the call taker's talking to you, they're putting information that you're telling them into the computer, which goes to us as we're going out there. So on that call notes, there's never any mention of you saying that they said that they're gonna kill you. It was more or less that they're harassing you, that
Oh, no, I told the lady that they
Okay.
said they were gonna kill me.
okay,
No, I was very specific when I spoke.
okay. Now, did you see who was out there at that time?
I just knew it was HI by her voice, because she's screamed at me before, you know, and I'm like, oh, great, it's her again, you know. And I just, like I said, I just panicked, and I just got so frightened. I was like, oh my God, she's really gonna do it this time, she's gonna kill me.
Were you still on the phone with 911 when what happened? I mean, we gotta kinda get specific about this, because it's a big deal.
I understand that.
Someone's dead.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So that's why I say it's important to be specific and honest about everything. So,
It was only because she was pounding at my door, and I honest to God thought she was gonna come in.
okay. So we have, over in our communication center, they're putting together, because all the calls that come into 911 are audio recorded, and there were several people even before. So there's open lines, we're recording and getting audio of exactly what's being said, not to mention if your camera's captured anything, okay? So that's why I'm like asking you before we go through that, and if something is different than what you're telling me, we need to clear that up now, because if,
Okay.
you know what I mean, if the evidence shows something different than what you're saying, it doesn't look good, and I wanna be open and honest with you, so
I
that.
just know that she was pounding and pounding on the door and scaring the shit out of me.
Okay,
You know?
but is there any reason why, if we reviewed that evidence, she wasn't saying, I'm gonna kill you?
That's what I heard.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I honestly got heard. You know, it's just what I heard.
Okay. Did you ever look out the door to see? And I know you said you kind of recognized her voice, so,
I never looked out the door.
okay.
I was afraid to get to my door, to be brutally honest. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna bust it in and just gonna.
Where were you standing when you shot the gun? And you said you shot the gun
Oh, yeah.
through the door?
Yeah, through the
Okay.
door. I just panicked. It was probably at the kitchen table somewhere.
Okay, by the kitchen table?
Mhm.
And how many times did you shoot the gun?
Once.
Just once? What kind of gun is it?
It's a Remington 380.
Is that the only firearm you have in the house?
No, there was a 22 Ruger.
Where's that one at?
I don't know. I don't know if I picked it up or not. I have no idea. Maybe the garbage can.
And after you fired the round, what did you do?
She said, ow, and I went, oh my God, I hit her. It just, clicked, I hit her. I was like, Jesus Christ. And I thought I just, nicked something. I never ever.
And did you go out there?
No,
You didn't go out there?
No.
Did you call 911 back?
yes, I did call
Okay.
911.
And what did you say?
And I said, she was pounding on my door and I shot my gun. I'm pretty sure that's what I said.
Okay.
And she was threatening me and she was saying, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you. So,
So it's a Remington 380?
Mhm.
Is it a revolver or
No,
a semi-automatic?
it's a pistol, and
Okay.
it's semi-automatic.
What color is the Remington?
Black,
Black. And that's your firearm?
yes.
Okay. So, again, we're trying to get to, and there's always two sides, right?
Mhm.
And when there's the truth is somewhere usually lying in the middle somewhere. And I'm not trying to discredit what you're telling me, and I understand your concerns about, this is your area, you wanna be able to be relaxed and not have to worry about all this,
Riprap.
basically, yeah. video, 911 call recordings and things like that.
Just telling you what I know.
So, is it feasible to say that this is just got to a boiling point for you that you couldn't take it anymore? And because
No.
again, if
This was
listen, if
absolutely
this stuff
terrible.
happened in the past,
Mhm.
I get it, but we're talking about a specific event tonight where she didn't make it a point that she was trying to come in. She was trying to get your attention to say, apparently, to stop throwing things at her kids, whether you actually, I know, listen, kids can lie, I get it. And I'm just saying, whether that actually happened or not, that's what she believed, because that's what she was told by her one of her sons. So she was coming over there to, I mean, does that ring a bell of her telling you, not to be throwing things? No? What
Not that I-
specific words do you recall that she said?
I
that
just
you-
remember her saying, "Don't talk to my sons that way, and I'm gonna fucking kill you." I mean, that's what I heard. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
And you're sure when you were on the phone with 911, you told them that she said that?
I'm almost positive.
Yeah, I mean, if someone was, the reason why I ask is because, like, if someone, let's say I'm not a police officer, or, you know, right, and I'm just at my house and someone's, like, beating on my door saying, I'm gonna kill you or I'm gonna fucking kill you, oh my God. They're banging on my door, they're saying they're gonna kill me. Like, that's a very fear-provoking statement when you know, if you're in a legitimate fear that someone's gonna come through your door and kill you, if you're already on the phone.
I wasn't on the phone though, I was in the bathroom when she
You
started.
weren't on the phone with 911?
No, I was already off the phone with 911.
Okay, so she had already maybe made that statement before you even called.
Oh, the second time?
Anytime.
I was gonna say the second time, when I called, she had already said it,
Okay.
so.
But the second time you called was after you had fired the gun?
Yes.
Okay. So,
And maybe I misunderstood it, because what my understanding was before I had to walk out of the room was that when she was knocking on your door,
It wasn't a knock.
the way,
Sorry.
I understand, you said that it got worse, like so I'm starting off with
No,
and
she
then we're
never-
gonna get
No,
harder.
she started off banging on that door, and it was, you know.
But during that initial time is when you had said before that she had made the statement that, you know, she was gonna kill you.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just,
No, it's important that we learn the details, so that way, as we gather and collect evidence, the details are what help us piece that together so we can see the big picture, right? I'll tell you that even as law enforcement officers, if we make a decision to, you know, use deadly force against someone, we have to sit and explain the same way with details. I did this because of this, making me feel like this, right? We're just trying to understand the details of what happened from your point of view, so as we gather our evidence, we can.
understood.
does anyone else live with you, Susan?
No.
Okay. How long have you owned your firearm, or firearms, or any firearm really?
Trying to think about the Remington, maybe a year ago.
Okay. And was it just for like protection,
Yes,
personal
it was-
protection?
yeah,
Do you carry it with you
No.
if you go out, just
No.
for home?
Only if I take it to the range.
Okay. Do you do that often, or how often do you think that you've shot at the range?
Probably 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
I used to be terrified of firearms, and then when the first time she threw the things at me, and she was just so horrible to me, I'm like, I had just had neck surgery, and I'm like, she could have really killed me, you know? And I just was like, oh dear God, she was just violent.
So, your door is kind of like, probably not wood or whatever, but you can't really see through it. There's no
No.
windows or anything like that. Now, I know your sliding door is a little further over, but something that he mentioned, you know, as far as our training, when we have to go through making a judgment decision where we might have to pull the trigger, we have to know what we're firing at is a deadly threat, or what we recognize as a deadly threat. So my question is, how do you know what you're firing at when you're firing through a door that you can't see through? When you don't know if there's also a child outside standing there? Or, I mean, basically I'm asking you, what were you aiming at and what were you intending to do when you fired that gun?
I was just fearful of my life, and I was just like, go away, go away. That's all I could think of, was just get out of the situation, you know, just go away already. And,
But when you fire through a door that's closed, was it locked?
yes, it was locked.
Okay. And, you know, you said you're in the bathroom, which I understand you said it's kind of an open floor concept in there. So it's kind of open, but I'm assuming there's walls around the bathroom, you've got a door, you can close it. I'm not saying that you're within your right, you're in your house, you don't have to do that. But if I'm looking at a door that's secured and whether someone's banging on it or not, law enforcement's already on the way. At what point do you, you know,
The door is broken.
the door's broken?
At that whole side panel, people have, she's pounded on it more than once, and he fixed it, but when everything started rattling so much, I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna bust through it,
Okay.
you know?
So it's broken right now, or it was broken before and then the landlord fixed it?
He didn't, cherry rigged it. He put screws through it so that the centerpiece was supposed to stay in there, but she was pounding it so hard, I mean, everything was just rattling, and I'm like, oh my God, it sounded like a horse kick. It
So
was so loud.
one thing that I think my partner was trying to get at, and I don't know that I actually heard an answer to the question. When you're inside the house and she's on the other side of a door that you can't see through and she's pounding on the door, you make the conscious decision to aim your gun at the door and fire one round, right? Just one round?
Yes.
Fire one round. Were you trying to hit her, or were you trying to scare her off? Were you trying to make a loud noise to say like, hey, I got a fucking gun, get away from my door? Or were you
I was never intending to hit her. I just thought, I thought I hit really high, you know, I was just like, kind of, you know, it's the first time I ever really used it where I was, you know, like.
not on a paper target?
Exactly. I was like, oh my God. So I was shaking. I mean, I was just so distraught at that point in time. I'm like, oh my God, she's really gonna freaking come to my house. And I was just like, all I could think is go away, go away, go away, go away.
Did you mean to, were you aiming for the door?
I just fired the gun. Because all I could think of is, I felt like I was in mortal danger. I mean, it's just how I felt.
And what made you, I mean, I know someone's banging on the door, you feel like they could get in, but at that point where nobody had breached or been able to get through that secure door, what made you feel like that was the time that you needed to do that?
I usually have a chair propped up against the door at night.
Okay.
And I didn't have the chair up there, and I didn't have the chain on the door either. So just the one lock was locked. I'm like, oh shit, you know, of all the times that I never.
But before you decided to pull that trigger, you didn't think to try to put
I wasn't going near the
second?
door because she was actually physically moving the door. You know, like you could see the door moving. I'm like, oh dear God.
So the thing is, and again, I can 100% sympathize with being fed up with that kind of harassment and that kind of disrespect. But also someone lost their life last night, right? No?
I absolutely feared for my life.
So this is,
This was an absolute, it's either me or her. I mean, it's just like, I'm like, holy shit.
But did you see her with a gun or another
No,
weapon
no.
or anything like
But
that?
I don't know what she had on the outside, you know, when my lights were off, you know, so she came up, it was dark out, and I'm like, great, now she's pounding on my door, now she's scaring the crap out of me, you know, now my door's moving, and I didn't have it properly secured, and the next thing I thought she was gonna be in my house, you know, killing me. I mean, that's honest to God what I felt. You know, it's not like, you know, I'm fed up or anything, this was a real fear.
But when we first started talking, you said you made it very clear to the 911 call taker that she was threatening to kill you.
Yes, absolutely.
And if that's not on the recording, is there any reason why that's not on the recording?
I have no idea. I'm pretty sure I said it, so.
are you just pretty sure she said it as well? That she
Oh,
did
no,
it?
absolutely, she said it.
Okay.
She was absolutely, you know,
So the way that I see it is kind of like this. You have two things that you are looking at when you're in your position. You have this fear, this imminent fear of great bodily harm, death, serious injury, right? Imminent fear. Or you have, I'm in my apartment, I'm scared as shit, and I'm trying to scare someone off. Does that make sense?
yes.
Do you understand what the difference between those are?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand, do you have this imminent fear that you're about to die? Or do you have this, I'm afraid of what's gonna happen if this person doesn't go away? Does that make sense?
No, I felt like I was in imminent danger.
Okay. How would you define imminent danger? I just wanna make sure that you because that's what the actual
Imminent
law.
danger, let's say, someone coming at you with a nice 4-ton truck, you know, straight
Okay.
at you, and, you know, they're swerving with you when you're trying to run away.
Okay, so, someone coming at you and you're this close to danger. Okay.
Now, the first time that you called 911, tonight or last night, at what point did you disconnect from the call? You called about, basically, the kids were
yeah.
in your area and you didn't want them
Trespassing,
there.
Mhm.
At what point did you disconnect with them?
They hung up with me, they said, someone's on the way, just keep your doors and windows locked, and I said, okay.
But AJ wasn't there at that point?
No, she was not.
Okay. How long after you disconnected with them did she come over there, do you think?
I honestly thought it was you guys, someone banging on the door like that, because it felt, you know, like really heavy bang bang, you know, a guy doing it, and I was like, okay. You know, it kind of shocked me, like, what the hell? And then she started screaming, I'm like, oh, great. And then, you know, it was just weird because I just thought, she is just so angry, you know, and she's just ranting and pounding, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Well, from the information I got, she was angry and pounding because she believed that you had either struck or attempted to strike one of her kids with an umbrella and threw roller skates.
Mhm.
And I'm not, again, I know how kids can be, they're not always very truthful about things. But I didn't have any information provided me out there.
Mhm.
And of course, we're still going through evidence and that's an ongoing thing. But nothing that says that she threatened to kill you or that was doing anything more than trying to get you to come to the door. That she wanted you to open the door.
Why would I open my door to this woman? When she has.
I wouldn't
thrown-
either. I
When
get
she
it.
has thrown things at me, when
Right.
she has followed me a foot behind me, I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
I mean, she's literally come up, we had words about 2 months ago, and I walked away, I said, all right, whatever. And, you know, I said, I'm sorry, just because I wanted to diffuse it, you know, de-escalate everything. I'm walking away, and she's literally walking 1 foot behind me like she was, you know, I thought, oh my God, she's gonna pound me into the ground.
So, yeah, I mean, that's my question though, is if she wasn't trying to come in, she's just trying to get, and again, I wouldn't come to the door either. If you're beating on my door, wanting to cause something, I'm not answering it. But that's different than trying to bust the door down.
To me, she was
And you
trying to
said that
bust
the
the
door's
door.
already broken, so
Yes.
how hard would it have been for her, because she's kind of a big girl, right? How hard would it have been for her to break that door knowing you know your door better than I do, but if it's already,
Well, we did put the extra long deadbolt in and everything. I did have the deadbolt on, so I didn't know how long the door was gonna
see,
hold up.
and that's why I'm asking is
So-
because at first it's broken and now it's
To that door, to keep you know, because I feel like someone's gonna break it in.
When did you install the new deadbolt, or did, he did that? Someone else did that?
Yeah, Charles did it.
Okay. How long ago was that?
He just, I'm trying to think when the hell he did it, a few months ago.
And what was the reason for that?
She had pounded on the door once before and found out everything that he had fixed previously, she had cracked apart. And I'm like, oh God. Like I said, it's not the first time.
What did she pound on the door for last time? What happened with that?
I think I called her kid an idiot or something like that. And like, you see the signs, stop coming over here. And I can do anything I want. I could just go in. And I'm like, oh my God. You know, it's just.
And what did she do that time? She beat on the door and?
She beat on the door and I'm like, go away.
Did you call the police then?
I believe I called the police, and this when, you know, she heard me calling the police, then she went away.
She went away. What was she trying to get you? Was she that
I
time?
have no idea. I have no idea what this woman is thinking. I mean, to me, she's just terrifying at this point in time. You know, I just thought she is not mentally stable, and, you know, every time something happens, oh, it's my children, you know, and, you know, they're 100% little angels, and of course, you know, you're demonized. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
But was she trying to get in that time? Or was she just beating on the door and ranting and raving about you calling her son an idiot?
I think she was ranting and raving about me calling him an idiot.
Okay,
And I'm like, all right, whatever, you know, go away, you bother me.
okay.
But at that point in time, I had all the locks on, I had the chair up, you know, like,
Did you get your gun that time?
I didn't feel, she wasn't as forceful that time as, you know, this time was, you know, like, oh my God.
And do you think the reason was because she believed that you threw something at her
I
kids,
don't know what,
or?
I have no idea what she was thinking.
Okay.
I can't even speculate, you know, all I know is she's like, you know, you screamed at my kids, or, you know, you said something to them, and then she's like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm like, fine.
And if your camera does work, do you, you're confident that any video would back you up, or, and the reason I'm asking that is because this is the time, if there's any discrepancies, to clear that up now, and I'm just trying to be
I don't even know if
forthright
we
with you
engaged.
on that. What's that?
I don't even know if we engaged, because the last time she was there at night, I tried to play it and nothing came up, so.
Did you ever know her to carry a weapon or anything?
I do. But you can't tell who.
No,
knows
you
what.
never know, that's
I was
right.
gonna say,
Yeah. We have kids out here running around with firearms and stuff, so, but I guess my question is, what is it that she did that made that an immediate threat to your life that you had to shoot when you did? Or you were gonna be harmed at
I
that
thought she
second?
was coming right through that damn door. I mean, this guy was my witness, I thought that one was coming through
What
that
made you
door.
think that she was coming?
Because everything was shaking. I mean, my mirror that was on the wall was shaking. I'm like, how do you shake a, you know, a cement block house? I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. That's why I thought, you know.
So she was just beating, like,
Oh, she was wild with it. I mean, she was bam, bam.
what is your door made out of? Is it like a metal or like a, I'm not sure.
I have no idea. And it just was like, oh, dear God, you know. I thought I was gonna get my,
How long do you think she was hitting the door?
no, I can't even speculate, because it could have been seconds, it could have been, you know, when you get that fear response, and, you know, she banged on it, I was in the bathroom, came out of the bathroom, and she was still banging on it, so I don't know, maybe a minute or two.
And you didn't try to call 911 back at
But my
that
phone
point?
wasn't there. I didn't know where I put my phone.
You don't remember where you
No.
put your phone?
And I was like, crap, I can't find my phone.
Okay. So you have an app on your phone that lets you review the video
Yes.
for your surveillance camera? Would you be willing to be able to let us look at that?
I don't have a phone.
Well, no, we have it in the
Okay.
office
Okay,
over here, but,
yeah, got it.
let me see what condition the battery's in, and I'll be back in just a
Okay.
moment, okay? Thank you. Susan? Looks like we got a little bit of juice in here. This is your phone, correct? Is it an Apple iPhone?
Yeah.
There's a passcode attached to it?
It faces,
Faces?
Yeah.
What's the, there's a numerical to it if you don't have your face?
yes,
Do you mind providing that?
yes, I do mind. We
You
can,
do mind?
I'll open it for you, that's no problem.
Okay.
There's-
So this is a consent to search cellular phone and/or other storage media. Okay, this is a form, I just read this to you. I wanna make sure I have your address and everything written down correctly, it's been a long day. The undersigned residing at 1662 Southwest 107th Lane, is that right? Number 3, Ocala, Florida, does hereby authorize Detective Ryan Stitt and/or other officers he may designate to assist him to search my cellular phone or their storage media described below, Apple iPhone. This written permission to search without a warrant is given to me, to the above officers freely and voluntarily without any threats or promises having been made. Do you understand all that?
Yes,
Okay. If you would sign on that line there, please. Thank you. You said it was a face unlock deal? And you said it's a blink?
yeah, the blink.
Is that what both of those cameras are? They both blink cameras?
Okay. Let me just-
Is that correct though?
remember if one's blink and one's ring, I have to be brutally honest.
Okay, that's all
The
right.
two up front are blinks.
Okay.
It's gonna be front door.
Oh, so they both are, oh, you have a few of them? Okay. Just can't remember exactly. Do you remember when you called the first time?
I have no idea. That's when the kids were playing, they were so loud in the house.
Yes, it was called.
That's the front. It'll say front door on it.
Now, did you delete any videos?
No.
No?
No. First time,
I'm sorry?
it's the first time I looked at it since before.
Okay.
That's why I didn't touch it, just let you have it.
So this is the only one, so this usually doesn't capture at night anyway, you
No.
say? Does it normally capture things during the night, like?
Just look at that one and see if it'll, It usually just shows up as a dark screen,
Which one?
the yesterday. No, that's when I was recording, I guess.
And that captures a lot of stuff, a lot of activity going on there, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I have my TV on 75. You can hear them. Oh my God, they're ridiculous.
Okay, well,
Did you want to open it again? Did you want to?
no, that's okay.
Okay.
But if it goes the way where you are released, which I said, I don't know, I have to talk to him, I'll be 100% honest. Do you have family or someone that you could stay with if that's the case?
I was gonna say, I'm gonna go get a hotel room. I'm not gonna stay at my place tonight. I'll get the cats and take them with me.
Okay, well, I don't even know if, I understand your cat, there's nobody that would be able to go over there or for you?
My sister is a brittle diabetic and she's had amputations. God forbid they saw her and they wanted to do her harm. She can't run. She works with a cane.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, is there anything else that you can think of that I didn't ask or that might be helpful for figuring this all out?
Dear, I've never been in this situation before. This is all new and it's killing me.
Okay. All right, Susan, give me just a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So we continue the investigation. I don't think it's safe for you to go back to that house.
I don't think so either.
But what we can do is provide you with a ride back there. You stay in the patrol car. How many cats do you have?
There's 2 cats.
2 cats. Do you drive that truck that's
Yeah,
there?
that's my truck.
We can get the cats. Do you know where the keys are to your truck?
They're in the-
Sure.
For the record, I have all 8 of the jurors' transcripts.
Sure.
So we saw in the interview that the defendant was not arrested that night, correct?
Correct.
Was there still additional interviews and things that you wanted to do as a detective before that decision was made?
Yes, sir.
Were you in the process of obtaining a search warrant that allowed law enforcement to go back into her house, or to go into her house and search for evidence?
Yes, sir.
Because of that, was she able to go back to the house and go inside while you guys were doing that?
No, she wouldn't be.
Once the search warrant was signed and allowing you to go to the house to investigate and look for evidence, did you in fact go back to the residence?
Yes, I did.
Did you go inside?
Yes, I did.
Did you examine the door and the door frame?
Yes, sir.
Did you notice any shards of wood, splintered wood on the ground near the door?
No, sir.
Let me direct your attention to several days later. Let me back up. During the days following the shooting, detective, did you and other detectives further investigate the case?
Yes, sir.
Did you interview various witnesses and do what detectives do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me direct your attention to several days later on June 6th of 2023. Did you conduct a second interview with the defendant?
Yes, sir, I did.
Where was that done?
That was also at the Major Crimes Unit within the Marion County Sheriff's Office.
And did the defendant voluntarily come to the sheriff's office to be interviewed?
She was provided with a ride, I believe, yes.
Okay. Who else was involved in that interview?
It was myself and Detective Daniel Pender,
And what does Detective Pender do for the sheriff's office?
and at the time, he was a major crimes detective also.
At the time of the interview, was the defendant under arrest?
No, she was not.
Was the entire interview, the second interview done on June 6th, was it audio and video recorded?
Yes, sir.
Did you again read the defendant Miranda warnings prior to asking her any questions about what happened?
Yes, I did.
Did she again waive those rights and agree to speak with you?
She did.
Did you force her or threaten her in any way to get her to talk to you the second time on June 6th?
No, sir.
Did you promise her anything to get her to talk to you?
I did not.
Showing you has been marked as State's Exhibit U for identification. Do you recognize that disc?
Yes, sir, I do.
What is it?
It is a video and audio recording of the interview with the defendant on June 6th.
Does that recording fairly and accurately depict the relevant portions of your interview that day?
Yes, sir, it does.
And is your initials on it?
It is.
Have you listened to it?
Yes.
This time, State would move you into evidence as State's 20.
Subject to our previous objections, Your Honor.
I recognize the previous objections, overrule them. It will be the evidence that states number 20.
Were transcripts also prepared depicting what was said in that interview?
Yes, sir.
Have you reviewed those transcripts?
I have.
Have you compared the transcripts to the interview to make sure that the transcripts are accurate?
Yes, sir, I have.
Did you also initial and date those transcripts after you were done reviewing them?
Yes, sir, I did.
I don't know if the court wants to take a break at this
Yeah, we'll
point.
take a break before you have another video. So we'll take about a 10-minute break, okay, everybody? Remember to put your notebooks down. Please don't discuss the case. Thank you. And I'll, let me go check on that.
Yes,
And then I'll come back in just a few minutes and let you know what the schedule's gonna be.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. They remain with the others, but they're not in evidence. They're just part of the record. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. I'll let you know what the situation is regarding the lunches.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, my guess would be, I don't want them sitting for an hour. So my guess would be we'll probably take a lunch break. Because I don't want to run, then we'll just be a little bit early on that, on the other side, which is fine.
Your Honor.
That is why.
Yes.
When I saw it, I was comparing them just.
I don't blame you.
Didn't you say?
Thirty-six? Remember when we were 36?
No.
Which is my happy camper. Yeah, I know.
364.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Adam, some thought you were in on these things, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah? Well, that's,
It's just young kid.
we didn't say 1996.
I think he's gonna. Take such a
Oh, you do?
He just talked about us. Cause he, yeah, he asked. He was saying about an ounce of physical. I'm gonna tell you, I don't know, cold, I'm just sitting there, so he said he's gonna check on the lunch. Yeah, so we'll come back probably about 12. So, if I classify it.
Yeah.
Cause I gotta go through all the statements.
How much out here?
It'll be ready for them to come back.
Did the judge say we're gonna quit at the?
He doesn't know, he's gonna come back, he doesn't know what he wants to do.
Okay. Are y'all calling Rosalie after lunch?
The longer I'm back there, the less I wanna go back to patrol. I always make, even when I was back in property.
And then that's it for today, I guess.
2 years in property.
Yeah, but it was still.
Right around that 2 years.
Yeah, it'll be back.
The longer I'm off the road,
We could probably do jury instructions.
I'm 40 now.
That should be real easy, since
Yeah, I sent the
we
updated
figured it out, okay,
corrections.
thank you.
Yeah,
Then we could go right into closing, but, well, I don't wanna get you in the morning.
like tomorrow. Yeah.
I do miss being able to put my phone down when I'm done with
Yes.
shift and not look at it again until the next day. It's not fun, but it's part of it.
Good night, sir.
I know. My birthday is 80. Can you tell Susan that after Shayla's not here, because her mom's transitioning? Yeah, her mother-in-law's in hospice and she's not feeling well. She'll know. Yeah, because she's 90. But she's gonna call me.
I'll tell her soon.
Yeah, just let her know that, just sharing was a such good.
We assembled everybody. We're probably gonna take a lunch break. Lunches are here, we got,
Oh, and I'll take a lunch break?
yeah, but I wanna bring everyone in, let the juror know, because we got hour worth of video and then cross,
Okay.
so.
It was Shandell Norford.
I got it down, thank you. I thought your name was gonna be on the screen, so I didn't take it down.
Granted it was, but we got it wrong.
Yeah, so I didn't take it down when you said it, so I was like, now it's on the screen. So let's, get ready to bring her back out.
Yeah, I have a copy of my household. It's the joy of having an autistic child.
Say we're gonna break for lunch now.
We're to break now.
For lunch is here.
What if we can increase the volume on this a little more over there? Afraid I was afraid to touch anything. Yes.
lunch. Bucks and I had just told Mr. Smith and the other attorney that we're probably taking a lunch break because we got
Yes, sir.
an hour worth of video and then cross. By that time, their lunch would be here for probably an hour and
Yes, sir.
15 minutes, and probably not in the best shape I was ever in. So I'm just gonna announce that to the jury, and then it's 11 o'clock, and then we'll just break till 12. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just wanna make sure you got witness, have you let your witnesses know that, or
Yes, after him, we only have one witness, and he's gonna be here at 12:45, so,
12:45?
yes. Because he still has another hour and a half probably testimony.
Yeah, 12:45 would be fine. I mean, you got an hour of video,
Yes, sir.
so, whatever is fine with me. So, just so you know, ma'am, just walking out. It wasn't you, the texter.
What was that?
It wasn't you who was texting.
No. Okay.
But there was another person. So. He has a telltale, looking down. Let's bring the jurors back in real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know what we're going to do at this point. It's my understanding from the attorneys, the next video is about an hour long, and then we have cross-examination after that. Your lunch has already been here. It's been here for a few minutes. I don't want you to have to wait, and I don't want your lunch to be sitting here for an hour before you eat it. So we're going to take our lunch break now and get that out of the way, and then we'll resume back right around noon or so. It's my understanding that we're probably going to finish a little bit early today. Hope you have no objection to that. You'll be free to go whenever we're done. We're going to get as many witnesses as we can, but sometimes witnesses have travel plans that we're trying to work with as well. I will let you know we're well on track to get finished on time. And with that, have a very nice lunch, okay? Leave notebooks here.